Right, guys, so this week we've got two Broke Geeks coming to join us. So we've got Matt and Justin coming in for recording in a moment. So we've got a session with them, and then we've got a little bit at the end where we're doing, like, wrapping a few bits up on our normal bits, like awesome new segment that can't wait to hear the questions for, where Alex basically scours the internet of people who want to ask me some random questions. We've got some gaming talk and, of course, superhero bar fights. So stay tuned till the end for sort of like the normal bit of the podcast. But we've got some chill time with two Broke Geeks.
So, yeah, we are Thors-Kin podcast, and we're doing a joint podcast with the two Broke Geeks. Yay.
Yeah,
happy with
that.
And yeah, so I'll carry on with the superhero. I'm really sorry, I'm a bit jittery. I guess I'm getting a bit starstruck. Anyway, yeah. So Agent Venom and Darth Maul, we called it as neither would win. The symbiote would just take over. Who would win out of the bodies? And we thought it would be Darth Maul. Darth Maul was an outright winner on any poll we put on Twitter and on Facebook. So I think we kind of got it right in some respect. I mean, the symbiote wouldn't die by a lightsaber, would it? Would you reckon, guys?
No,
I don't think it would. I think we actually called it quite right. Do you know what? When I had that sort of like moment in my head of, do you know what? This is how it's going to end. Turns out that must have been a subconscious thing, because someone pointed out on Facebook that's been done before with exactly the same ending on a different YouTube channel. And I went back, I was like looking around for what it was, and I realised I'd already seen that exact same thing. So like somewhere in the back of my mind was like, there's got to be this really cool way of doing like Venom versus Darth Maul. But yeah, I wouldn't have got Darth Maul's symbiote to look like that picture.
There is
it's a little bit creepy.
There is on the Bat in the Sun YouTube channel Darth Maul versus Spider-Man, and towards the end of that fight, the symbiote comes and saves Spider-Man from having his ass beat by Darth Maul. So
yeah,
the symbiote even wins in that situation.
Just black goo that follows him around everywhere. It's got to be better than that fucking Venom trailer, though, right?
Ugh.
That was dog shit. I couldn't believe it. Like, they released a trailer for Venom with not one Venom shot. It was crazy.
It's true.
Okay. I was going to mention about the other show that I work on, but I'll do that at the end, I think, so we can just get on with what we've come here to talk about, guys.
Yeah, man, let's do it.
Good, let's do it.
This shit.
Yeah.
So, Al, have you managed to go through and actually come up with an order of stuff that isn't on 17 different lists of topics?
I sent you an image which come up as two nice little images. One that's quite long and one that's quite short. It's not my fault your phone's shit.
You didn't have half of the shit on there is what I'm getting at.
Oh, the stuff you sent, you mean?
Yeah.
Guys, we're going to talk about Black Panther. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
Yes, let's get on with it. Yes, Black Panther. So we've all been to see it, right?
No.
Yep.
Yes.
No, I have not seen it yet. I'll stay out of the conversation. No, I have.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
Oh my
get out of
God.
here.
It's just,
Leave
yeah.
my show right now and go see that movie.
What would I even be doing here?
We're gonna wait
It was-
right here while you go see it.
Yeah, I'll keep recording. Did anyone else come out with like any negatives whatsoever, or is this literally just going to be a bunch of people just like creaming over how amazing it was?
Couple little ones, couple minor ones. Yeah, I mean, there's no such thing as a perfect movie, but
No, there's not.
Overall, though, I thought it was spellbinding. I thought it was really good. I think that Marvel were very brave with this movie, and it's a shame that you should have to talk about that this kind of day and age. But I do think that they could have done so much whitewashing and Americanizing or whatever that Disney and Marvel are very famous for. but they didn't. They went out and it was African as fuck, and I loved it for it.
Yeah, true story.
Oh yeah.
I just saw a tweet this morning. I retweeted it. It was something about I definitely felt represented in Black Panther. I was the middle-aged white guy who wanted to help out in any small way he could. And, that made me laugh. Yeah, I definitely, man, I did love this movie. I thought it was, I thought everyone in it is great. Michael B. Jordan especially was pretty amazing in terms of steal. I mean, Chadwick Boseman and Michael B. Jordan are both really good actors anyway. So the two of them taking away, but the real show stealer for me, honestly, and I was oh shit, what the hell is the name of that girl that plays his sister? God damn, she was good.
Oh, Shika, I think her name is, or Sika.
Well,
yeah,
her character is Shuri, right?
Shuri.
But I can't think of her. I can't think of the actress's name off the top of my head. I'll Google it while I'm looking, but or I'll Google it while I'm talking. But oh man, I loved her. She was good in just every single scene she was in.
she really pissed me off, and I'll tell you why. Right, I was looking at her face for the whole thing. I was thinking, where do I know you from? You ever do this with a movie where you're like, I know you from somewhere.
I'm looking her up. Let's see.
And it was Black Mirror. It was Black Mirror. She's in that last episode of the last season.
That's right.
Yes.
Letitia Wright plays Shuri. That's her name. And you're right. She was the daughter she was the girl from the last episode of the most recent season of. You're right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant actress. You're right. She was brilliant through all of that.
The guy from the Blue Tribe, I forget what his name was, like actor or character.
Oh,
he was from Black Mirror as well.
Daniel Kaluuya.
He's also from Get Out.
Yeah.
Played Wakabi.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, he was great. It's a great cast, and like you said, the movie is kind of brave, I guess, African as fuck, like you said. Really, I like that it was small, not necessarily like world-ending shit going on, real personal. Yeah, I'm gonna let some other people say some shit before we keep diving in even further. But
I liked Claw, and I wanted to see more of him.
Mm-hmm.
That's too bad. Yeah, there's two gripes. There's Claw. I wanted to see more of him because I like Andy Serkis, but that was one of my only gripes of the film. The other one I'll talk about a bit later. I thought he played a really good part. He's a bit of a he's quite a good bad guy. What about you, Jimmy?
Yeah, I thought Michael B. Jordan was like, it was awesome as Killmonger, but this isn't a negative in any way. I think if Claw would have carried on throughout the film as the main bad guy, he could have gone down as like a Joker type character. The fuck is going on there? Anyone else hearing air horns?
Yeah.
It was a motorbike.
I was gonna say Alex's window is open because he's like dying. So
it's just suddenly got really hot in my house. I live in the UK. It's been like stupid temperatures forever, and now it's like I'm dying. It's crazy.
Yeah, I reckon Claw could have gone down as like one of those amazing performances because the bits that he had, he was chaos. Like he saw like insanity in his eyes, and I love the bit where like they come out of the casino, and he was like, "Oh my god, that was awesome!" Just like, yes, that was wicked. Oh, he struck me as like a proper Joker-esque insane character that they could have stuck with, but I suppose that was like. His badassness was what set Killmonger up of like, this guy is not fucking about. Like, he ran into him once and took him down. 30 years of Christ, what was his name?
Well,
the first king.
T'Chaka.
T'Chaka and T'Challa,
T'Chaka and T'Challa, yeah. Justin, what's up?
Yeah, pretty much like this, like, I had to think about this for a while because I wrote a thing for Atomic Geekdom last night that I may have been a little drunk writing. But I thoroughly enjoyed Jordan as Eric Killmonger. I thought probably one of the strongest villains we've seen in a while, besides Vulture. I was like everything about his character work. He was about like that was my biggest problem with the most of it's just like I don't care what these guys do. Like Ronan, I don't give a shit. Like Malekith.
Well, here's the thing, and it's funny that we are 4 white guys, 2 of whom don't even live in the United States, talking about this. But here's the thing about Killmonger. He's not entirely wrong. Like, his whole deal of...
Right! Yeah.
His whole deal of, like, I want to help black people, he's not entirely wrong. Yeah, he wants to do it in the most extreme, horrible way possible by turning around and subjugating other people, but he's
Giving
not
them
wrong.
the support.
Like, his whole thing of like Wakanda, you're in the middle of like Africa, which is this super impoverished continent, and you have all this technology and all this wealth, and you're not doing anything. Like, you're fucking wrong. Like, you should be helping.
Yeah,
so,
the moral compass. His moral compass is off, but beyond that, he's right. Because it's like, and that's why I love how this movie kind of played into that. Like, the whole thing is T'Challa learning the ropes of being king. His father's dead, and then like having these issues of other members of his group being like really outsource because we're ahead of everyone. And we should be able to find a way to help out when we can and not do what we've been doing for thousands of years, which is live in hiding and doing our own thing. And like Killmonger's whole thing is, no, we should help, but you should all rule under me because Wakanda has to become this can become this power hungry nation that I want to rule.
And I think that's what they didn't want to go down, the route they didn't want to go down, isn't it? They saw what was happening with the slavery and all the horrible things that happens in Africa. And they were like, people are animals. We're a happy country. We want to remain a happy country, and we don't want to be part of what they are. And I think that's kind of the message there. But you're right. It's a bit judgy. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
A bit judgy.
And I also liked though that it aided in T'Challa's growth as who he's gonna be as King of Wakanda, because he realizes finally that his father and his grandfather and all the other kings of Wakanda were not like, you know, he thought his dad was like this great, perfect king. And by the end of the movie, he's like, no, my father was a good king, but he could have been an even better king. And I'm going to right the wrongs of all the kings of Wakanda that's why, like, by the time it gets to the end of the movie, and spoiler alert, like, he's got this whole block in California he's bought to set up as like a Wakanda African-American outreach center or whatever they called it, where he's going to help urban kids like get educated in science and technology. I'm like, this is great. Like, this is a superhero that I can get behind fully, because he wants to, you know, he's like, all right, I've grown. He's got a good arc, you know, and
that was part of the reason why I liked it as well. Like, when you take like Strange and Ant-Man, a lot of like the single films where it's just one character and not all of the Avengers thrown in there. Part of the things that I don't like about some of those movies, and this is less about like their arc and their sort of like the artist meaning behind the film, and this is just a purely comic book, I like Marvel kind of comment, is that they didn't really impact a lot at the end, and it was like, that's your movie. Some people died, you became a hero, you got your powers, so what? With this, what I really liked was at the end of it, the sense of like, oh shit, they're going to be bringing all of that technology into the universe now. Like, they need this country on board if Infinity Wars is going to last more than 10 minutes. Do you know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
that excitement that I came away from it, just like, ooh, it's going to get hard in here.
I still believe. And Matt and I talked about this with Dave on Atomic Geekdom, and I was kind of hoping it would be kind of brought to light, but it wasn't, because we're still missing one Infinity Stone, which I think is the Soul Stone. And
I can't remember. We figured it out at one point.
Yeah, but I believe it's actually not attached to the vibranium part, but I think it's attached to the that herb, that heart herb or whatever. That kind of
heart-shaped herb that actually
heart-shaped
kind of
herb.
looked more like a vagina than it did like a heart.
Yeah, because they
Because
explain in the
that's
beginning.
life.
Yeah, exactly. And like at the
Yeah.
beginning of the film, they explain it's a meteorite that hit the Earth, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
possibility.
Ooh! That reminds me of one of my. Although I did like that exposition beginning where they kind of set up the whole mythos of Wakanda in like 2 minutes and they made it interesting. Like it was like Hello Captain Exposition, but it was like actually interesting and visually appealing. But I did have like a small, like one of my tiny gripes was like, okay, they got vibranium. But how did vibranium all of a sudden make it so that they knew how to build all this awesome, like just having it? I don't know how that led to, and I guess in the end it doesn't matter, but I'm sitting there going, all right, they're the only place that has vibranium, but how did that all of a sudden equal we know how to build all this awesome shit that nobody else knows how to build?
I think that's like a cause and effect thing. Like before you had oil, like you couldn't build certain types of engines and things like that. It's
That's
like,
true.
oh shit,
Yeah,
we've got a piece of the puzzle now.
Yeah.
We can everything else comes along afterwards.
And then there were a couple other small, like when I talk about I had small gripes with this film, they were like small gripes. Like, okay, the Black Panther suit is not like armor, even though it's made out of vibranium. There's like nothing between skin and suit. It's not like got any padding or anything, but he can dive on a grenade and be okay just from this thin it's like, okay, I'll go with you, but at the same time, like that was a little bit like where I was like, okay, you just stretched my
and as well,
suspension of disbelief.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And
yeah,
there's a bit as well at the end when they're having that war in between all the Wakandans and they're fighting each other with what I assume was vibranium weapons. They're hitting the Black Panther with the vibranium swords, and they're not piercing it. And I'm thinking, why? They're both made of the same material.
He got like hit by the rhinoceros. I'm like, okay? Like, I was like, okay, I'll go with you, but at the same time, I'm still calling a little bit of bullshit. Like, just a little teeny bit. I get that vibranium is supposed to be this wicked, strong material. But if you're just like, even like with Kevlar, like if you're wearing a Kevlar vest and you get hit by a bullet, like I've never worn Kevlar. It's just my understanding. You know, I have an academic understanding of it. You're still going to hurt. You're still going to feel getting shot by a bullet. So him, like, he's wearing this teeny thin layer of vibranium and dived on a hand grenade. I was like, okay, sure, whatever, I'll go with you, but just barely.
And he's got a stomach full of purple jizz, don't forget, that gives him super strength.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, you skimming past all of like the actual, and this was one of the main points that I wanted to actually bring up, was what I loved. Part of the thing that I loved about the film was how they took it back to basics of like how to, if you go back to all like the original Marvel movies where they explain, oh, these are your weapons and this is a I know it's not Marvel, but this is a batarang, all that kind of stuff. Like they explain the gadgets and this is how your suit is. Yeah, they didn't have like a Spider-Man sewing montage of him making a suit, but like probably for a good reason. But they explained all of that.
Yeah, his sister was like his Lucius Fox.
Yeah, that's what I liked. They took it back to basics with all of that. And I think the actual technology built into the suit, I didn't have a problem buying into grenades or like he's Black Panther. Like, of course, like that suit's going to be a step above the vibranium spears and all of that kind of stuff. And if you noted, at one point he did get slashed by something, and it did open the suit up, and then it melded back together. So he was still vulnerable.
I mean, it was fine. It didn't like destroy me. It was just I had like a little thing in my head that went, okay, like. And
the only other thing I had, sorry, Justin. Justin just sat there like, my turn.
That's fine.
That kid in the basketball court at the beginning, I was like, yeah, that's Michael B. Jordan. Straight away, I was like, hey, that's Michael B. Jordan. It's so predictable. I was just like, yeah, that's Michael B. Jordan. So, you know, a little bit predictable.
Maybe I was slightly checked out, but I didn't understand what that beginning was about for a while. Like maybe I was just too checked out or something. I didn't see that like at all. I was just like, I'm one of those people. Like I have a friend that he studied film like formally in college and everything. He went to film school and everything. So he like doesn't have any. I'm like, how do you enjoy anything after that? Because he always says he sees everything coming. Like he's that guy that went, I knew that Kevin Spacey was Kaiser Soze in The Usual Suspects. I'm like,
I thought you were going to say something else about Kevin Spacey then.
Oh no. Well, yeah, no. He's like, I'm like, how do you enjoy anything if you don't see any surprise? If you see every surprise coming in a movie, so
yeah, I totally get you.
Anyway, Justin, we've been like going back and forward between ourselves. Why don't you? We'll give you a few moments.
Like my only real gripe with this film was I thought it could have been a little shorter. I thought there was some stuff that dragged on just a little too long, where it's like, okay, like everything moved at a fine pace for the most part, and everyone seemed to have a really like there was no like real dead air to this film. You know, you watch movies. Very much like there's just scenes that are just for sheer sake of the runtime. This didn't feel that way, but at the same time, I could feel like I don't know. That was really the only gripe I had because I kind of blew up with the entire. I think it was like me and one other guy were the only white guys in the audience of this packed theater. And I'm just like next to this guy just when those vibranium rhinos came through. And I was just like, fucking right, let's do it. Get it right.
Brilliant. I think the fight scenes at the waterfall as well, when the contending the crown or whatever, they were fantastic. Those fights were brilliant. Yeah. There's all the people on the rocks and they're clapping and they're dancing and you kind of get in the groove, and then the fight scenes were just that was so good. Like I was really gripped.
That fight with Killmonger where he comes down and challenges him the first time, I've not had a genuine like, okay, let me rewind a bit. The first time that they were fighting and the gorilla tribe came down, I was like, we know what's going to happen. Like, he's not going to kill Black Panther, is he? Like, I know what's going to happen. He's going to win. And when Killmonger came in, that was the first time in ages that I've been watching a film and thinking, oh my god, this isn't going to go how I expect it. Like, this isn't going to be all, like, everyone getting along and, like, having a laugh here. Like, he's going to get fucked up. I can see it. And, just the choreographing as well, like, he was, like, both of them. But, like, Black Panther rolling about and tripping them up and everything. That was awesome.
Yeah. I liked how they handled this was one part that I liked. I liked how they handled M'Baku with because Man-Ape is kind of dressing a black guy up as a gorilla in modern times is a little bit dicey territory. Like it's pretty racially insensitive. So I knew we weren't gonna see like full on Man-Ape going on, but I liked what they did where they took they worship a different god. Their god is the gorilla god, and when you go to the challenge you wear the mask of your god. So T'Challa puts on the panther mask and M'Baku puts on the gorilla mask, and then eventually they both lose their masks. That was a good way of handling like the whole Man-Ape thing versus just being like, here's this wild black man who lives in the jungle and dresses like a gorilla.
Because
he's actually a character I actually thoroughly enjoyed way more than I thought I was going to.
Yeah, he's like, really cool.
Yeah, he was like we knew from the get-go. Like, I made the assumption that M'Baku and the Man-Ape tribe, the beginning fight, like somehow sometimes they'll have movies like in Winter Soldier, you have Batrick the Leaper that was in the beginning and like throwaway villains. And what they did with M'Baku, I was very impressed on like actually like how they made him into like a mini arc. Especially going into Infinity War.
Yeah. I was also especially impressed with just because I I just connected these things in my head. But I've kind of all along had a little bit of issue with Marvel's tone balance. I don't necessarily feel like the way they balance their seriousness and their comedy works very well. Like, I feel like too many of their movies interject humor, very forced humor at very odd times. And I don't think Black Panther ever, like, there were funny things in this. I laughed a lot at this movie. Like when he first goes to, visit his sister, and he's like, "Are you filming this?" And she's like, "Oh, it's just for research purposes." And then he gets blown halfway across the room, and she's like dying laughing, and he's like, "You better delete that video." Like, that was funny. And
there was the bit when the two girls, they're in the car and it gets blown up and they're sliding down the street.
that was funny.
Was I with the only person at that chase scene through the car where he was on top of the car and the music was kicking in? I was literally just like jumping up and down in my seat in excitement, just like, this is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, and then what was the other one? Oh, and I thought M'Baku had a very funny joke when he was like, "I will feed you to my children." I'm just kidding, we're vegetarians. Like, but the movie had jokes in it, but it wasn't that, like, what I have come to call like the Marvel formula, where it's like serious joke, serious joke, serious joke, serious joke, serious joke, and then it's like, okay, I don't need so many jokes. Like, balance
Thor
it
Ragnarok.
out. Well, Thor Ragnarok. Yeah, I mean, I liked it more in Thor Ragnarok because that one was like supposed to be a comedy, I guess. But anyway,
they did the serious really well in Ragnarok, though. They had the bit where the dad dies, and it's kind of like, oh shit, that's actually hit me right in the feels.
But like, the main thing, like, and I agree with Matt, is with stuff like Thor Ragnarok and like Doctor Strange, and stuff like that. Like, there's no real time to breathe. Like they just go straight. Like, especially in Thor Ragnarok, they were just, as much as I enjoy that movie, jokes that it was just like they had a serious moment and then went straight to a joke, and it just felt off. Like at the very end of Thor Ragnarok, when the freaking Asgard gets destroyed, like, there was no time for grief. Like, nothing. Like, it was just a straight up, like, Korg is just like, "Oh no, we can rebuild," and stuff like that. They went straight for a joke, and then it blows up. It's like, "Oh, never mind." I'm like, they just lost their fucking home world, guys. I don't think that's really appropriate to have a joke. Or even in Doctor Strange, where, like, I forget what happened. Like, someone dies, and Doctor Strange is like, is mourning, and then the cape, like, wipes a tear away, and I'm like, this doesn't fit, like, enough for me to get really involved with it. Whereas in, like, Black Panther, it all coincided in such a way where it, like, they weaved it in such a great fashion where I'm just like, fuck, man, this is amazing. Like, I was laughing and having so much fun with it.
The other movie I thought did that really well was and it's still probably my favorite Marvel movie, is Winter Soldier. I thought Winter Soldier did that really well. And I definitely, like, I've been thinking about it, and I do think this is probably the best Marvel movie since Winter Soldier. I don't think it's my second favorite after Winter Soldier, because I'm a little biased towards Spider-Man, so I still think, even though I don't necessarily think Spider-Man Homecoming is a better movie than Black Panther, I still think it's my second favorite movie overall, because I'm just, like I said, I'm just biased towards Spider-Man a little bit. But I think that in terms of just overall quality, this might be as good, or it's in the range of Winter Soldier for me. I love Winter Soldier.
Probably get fourth for me, maybe, because, like, Guardians of the Galaxy, the first Avengers, and Thor Ragnarok were three brilliant films for me. And this was great, but I mean, it's great for a different reason. It was great because they did it right. They didn't. I'm so proud of Marvel and DC for not going, let's make it as American as fuck, and let's change things, and let's not have them in their masks and dancing around like, traditionally. Let's do it. And that for me is what makes it stand out. But
I think they would have been slaughtered if they did. I don't think this movie. I think this movie would have been just destroyed if they had not made it.
And what I think helps is the fact that you got your introduction to T'Challa in Civil War. They didn't do it all in one movie. You got your introduction in another film.
But based on the box office for this movie, I'm not entirely sure everyone going to see this movie saw the box office for this movie. It's going to have the second highest grossing opening weekend of, was it any superhero movie? Something like that?
I think it's rising up there.
Here it is. Black Panther will shatter multiple box office records with 195.5 million in its first 3 days and 227 million in its first 4 days. Second best opening ever for a superhero movie.
What was number one?
Wow.
Was that
behind
Thor?
The Dark Knight? I think The Dark Knight Rises.
Oh dear. Yeah. What movie to be behind?
Wait, hang on. Let me see. Disney's Marvel's Black Panther will easily surpass Deadpool for the best ever President's Day weekend.
Wow.
It's also the only one of 2 superhero movies to have an A+ cinema score.
Yeah, they were on about this might be the first Marvel film to win an Oscar, and I was going into it thinking, yeah, fair enough, there might be a good performance, but it's still going to be
ever going to win an Oscar.
Yeah, it's still a superhero movie. You tune in for the action, but I've got to admit, like, going into, I don't think it's like Oscar worthy because that's based on, I believe, isn't it, like individual performances, like actors get the Oscars.
I mean, superhero movies win. Yeah, superhero movies win like different sorts of Oscars.
Yeah.
They win special effects. They win makeup. Win costume design. They occasionally win actors. Like Heath Ledger won posthumously for Best Supporting Actor. No superhero movie is ever going to win like a main, like Best Actor or Best Actress or Best
Film.
Like this, I just don't ever see that. The Academy's really super uptight and judgy.
I just got to add as well 2 things. Number one, Killmonger. Do you think he should have died?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think the whole spoiler realm, like the whole main battle, as it reaches its climax and he loses and gets stabbed, and he does, like, when T'Challa does reach out and it's like, we can probably heal you, and his whole thing where it's like, what, it's like, no, I'd rather die than be in chains, because of, like, especially after the way, like, his father was killed, and how
and I liked his point. He goes where he said, I'm gonna die like the people, like my ancestors that died jumping off boats rather than live in chains.
They knew it was coming. Like it was very poignant to the fact that he could have lived, but I feel like his death actually meant something to.
It meant something to him as a. It meant something, as a character. It meant something to him, and it meant something to T'Challa. Like it was a big moment for his whole thing would have just, I think, been weaker if he had stayed alive.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that was the T'Challa's like turning point for actually giving out aid and standing up with the council and being like, we are Wakanda and we're going to help out. And they're like, well, what have you got to give? I love that.
Yeah,
bit.
just that cheesy smile at the end, just like, you guys, you got no idea.
Oh, you don't know. You don't have any idea. You
guys are adorable.
You're going to get self-lace-up sneakers and hoverboards and all that crazy shit.
These sneakers that no one can hear you coming.
Yeah, sneakers. I love that.
Oh, that was. I think that was probably my favorite moment. It's like, guess what I call them? Sneakers. Just like, yes.
And another thing, is Forrest Whitaker the new Sean Bean?
Gotta die in everything.
He just died in everything. Like he was in Rogue One and he died. He was in this and he died. He's just dying all over the place. That guy. He's a great actor.
Yeah.
Great actor. Love him. And what I was going to say was, where do you think it's going to go from here for Black Panther? I mean, I know we've got Infinity War, but what's going to happen now? Like,
I mean, we got to see what happens. I think we got to see what happens with Infinity War first.
Yeah, I've got a very good idea with that. Like, so Iron Man basically kicked everything off, and then you had Nick Fury with S.H.I.E.L.D. pulling everyone together. As we move through the phases, that kind of responsibility then shifted to Cap, and you had Captain America sort of at the helm. I really think now, because Captain America's out the scene, obviously we know he's in Infinity War, but he's not going to be that. When I say pivotal character, he might be, but I don't mean at the centre. I actually think Black Panther with Wakanda and the technology, and this is what I was hinting at earlier, I think they're going to be at the centre of how the world actually fights back. Because there is no S.H.I.E.L.D., there is no Avengers, there's none of this shit now. It's like, it has to all rally around someone, and it's either going to be a bunch of people like coming in out of the shadows, like the scene with Captain America literally coming out of the shadows when he's like, get this man a shield. But I think that scene is going to be like, everyone's in Wakanda. You can see from the trailer at some point they're in Wakanda, and I think it's going to be Black Panther, everyone coming around him of like, shit, we didn't realize you were here.
Yep.
I just love the fact that the governments were all like, yeah, fuck the Avengers. They've got to register, or they're going to lick our ass, or what have you. We're going to throw them in jail, or what have you. And as soon as Thanos turns up with his big ass purple head, they're going to be like, guys,
Yep.
Can you sort that out for us, please? You know.
Yep.
Yeah, that's going to be quite cool.
All right. Anything else to say about Black Panther, guys? Anything?
I think
Not
we've
about
pretty
Black
much
Panther.
wrapped that up.
Okay, well, let's move on to, I don't know what you guys had next.
I was going to ask you guys quickly, with what with Marvel have acquired with Fox and all this stuff, who would you like to see next in the MCU? If anyone, just one person. If you could pick one person who you would like to see, like in the next film that in the MCU, who would it be?
Are we talking like an independent film, or as part of Avengers that they throw in,
not someone we've already seen, but somebody new, or somebody that they bought over from Fox? I mean, who would you like to see next?
Ooh.
Would you like to see like one of the X-Men done again, or would you like to see someone new brought in?
I want someone new. The thing is, they're kind of, I'm kind of sick of the X-Men. Like, I'm super stoked about New Mutants when that comes out, and Deadpool 2. But beyond that, in terms of X-Men movies, I really don't care. However, on the Fantastic Four side, not that I think they should do the Fantastic Four, but they have a great villain in the name of Annihilus.
All right.
I would love to see him like as a mainstay villain in a future film, depending how Infinity War goes, or like as a standalone villain for maybe Fantastic Four or something along those lines.
Yeah, I'd like to see them make a Silver Surfer movie, like a genuine, brand new Silver Surfer movie, away from everything else. MCU, straight in there. See how he'd compare against the Avengers, because I think that'd be really good, Silver Surfer.
I'd like them to sort of strip it back a bit and do another film along the same tone as Black Panther, but you could take it even darker. But I'd love for them to link it in and actually write this character in properly. Is Blade, because we haven't seen anything from that in years and years and years. And I know like we're going down the supernatural route, and that's kind of a bit of a different path down the Marvel universe as to what the MCU has gone down. So it'd be very difficult for them to write in vampires.
Well,
but I'd love to see that character.
Rumor has it, last time I heard, was Blade, Moon Knight, and Ghost Rider are all up for debate as like standalone, like either Netflix series or the new Disney series. That's the rumor I've heard like within the last couple months.
Yeah,
but who knows?
Can you imagine Blade rocking up in Daredevil? Who's
Moon Knight.
One character that I'd like them to write in is, and it'd be very difficult to do this without him being very much like Superman, just being like complete white bread, is Sentry. But I don't know if any of you guys know who Sentry is. But
yeah, that would be.
He's very, very overpowered. He could wipe his ass with Superman. He's that powerful. But I'd love to see someone that powerful in the MCU, and they could like go off his like psychotic sort of what's the word where you got two personalities?
Schizophrenia.
Yeah, he's got
multiple
like
personality disorder.
Yeah, he's got all of that crazy shit going on. Where 1 minute he's good, 1 minute he's bad, and like this is a character that like Hulk. They have to like put Hulk in the field to even stand a chance against even slowing him down. I'd love to see him as a villain.
I'd be down with that. Well, now that they've acquired like all these extra characters, we can now maybe see like Dark Avengers at some point down the road.
Yep.
Which is possible.
Who's in the Dark Avengers?
The Dark Avengers are Norman Osborn's like Avengers. Basically, no one trusts the Avengers, and so Norman Osborn picks like steals an Iron Man suit and calls it the Iron Patriot, which we saw like sort of the War Machine version.
Right,
I
they turned
hated
the War
that.
Machine into Iron. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, what they did, it was stupid. But the like Sentry, Venom at some point, and then they replaced him with a Spider God who took the mantle of Venom somehow. Who like there was I think Enchantress.
Wow.
But they can replace her with someone. It's a really good series. Like if you ever get a chance, I strongly recommend checking it out. It's in graphic novel. Yeah, they're villains, but Norman's like trying to be good, but with evil intentions, like in the background kind of deal.
I'd love for them to actually expand on him as well, like because Norman Osborn in the comics is like a villainous Tony Stark type character, and obviously yes, he's Green Goblin as well, but like I'm talking about like the business suit guy who turns up with a briefcase to work, like that side of like Norman Osborn rather than Green Goblin. He's very like clever and manipulative and evil, and he's always in like a throwaway Sony fucking Spider-Man film. Played by like not a bad actor, because that would be sort of like a bit of an injustice on Thingy Bob who plays him, but like he's never fully utilized. I'd love for him to be like that sort of like on par with a Tony Stark style character of like, oh wow, we need to watch what you're doing here, because like we're fighting like people like Thanos, but like you're just as much of a threat.
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to mention about Red Sparrow. Has anybody seen the trailer for this? Has anybody...
I did, and I was like, what's the first of all, what's the point of making a Black Widow movie if this is basically but at the same time, I'm also not a fan of Jennifer Lawrence.
No, me neither. I'll explain the trailer. It's basically it's very much like Black Widow. It's about a girl that's trained up as a sleeper agent, isn't she? She's got to go and get information from people. Russian. It's a Russian lady that they get Jennifer Lawrence to play, and I don't understand this. Why do they keep getting American actors to do dodgy as fuck Russian accents? It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I don't know if you've been paying attention lately, but except for our president, we don't really talk to the Russians. I mean, Cheeto Jesus might like them pretty well, but the rest of us kind of have a dodgy relationship with them. So
when if you haven't had a dodgy relationship with Russia?
Yeah, exactly.
There's got to be someone out there, though. I mean, Jennifer Lawrence. I mean, have you heard? You got to see the trailer. The accent is just ridiculous. It's awful. I've never heard anything so bad in my life.
He's very Boris and Natasha, kind of moose and squirrel.
I am from Russia.
I am from Russia, in Soviet Russia.
Yeah, mate, you could do it. You put a wig on you, you'd be great.
Oh, yeah.
Be hotter, too.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Oh, well, I don't know about that. I mean, I don't have the boobs going on, but...
I'm sure they could sort something out. No, I don't like the look of this. I just think Jennifer Lawrence needs to fuck off for a bit, if I'm all perfectly honest.
Oi, Jennifer,
she's
just fuck off.
Yeah, she's a bit over. Whatever.
She got a bit too big too quickly, I think. And then I saw a trailer today called James didn't like the look of this, but I loved it. I don't know if you guys saw it. It's a movie called I Killed Giants, and it's basically a story. It's got Zoe Saldana in it, who's Gamora in Guardians of the Galaxy, Noel Clarke, who is in Kidulthood, and the young girl that plays the main character, Madison Wolfe. And basically, Zoe Saldana plays a school counselor for a girl who everybody assumes is a little bit odd because they reckon she's got imaginary friends because she goes around telling people that she fights giants. And there's lots of clips of like CGI, huge iron giant sized giants walking towards her through the woods and things like this. The trailer looks beautiful. It's a really amazing looking movie. And I think it's going to be a very successful movie. I love the look of this movie. I'm going to go and watch it.
I just watched the trailer like right before I came on. And I've read I've never read the entire thing, but I've read some of the graphic novel.
Oh wow!
It's really it's a graphic novel. It's I think it's from Image or Boom.
Wow.
It's really good. Our friend Jenny, I think, could probably knows more about it.
She would probably know way more about it. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a good story. And I like that now that we're seeing more comic book films that are kind of taking more risks that are not necessarily superhero films.
Yeah,
like
it's original.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, it's original concept. It's a really cool idea. And I'll probably go see it when it comes out.
Yeah,
like, the trailer looks really good.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. I would recommend watching the trailer. I'll stick that on the Thors-Kin thing for the release of this show. And the poster got me. I saw the poster and I was like, I need to see this movie. And you shouldn't do that, should you? You shouldn't judge a movie on a poster. It's got this little girl standing next to this, like, it looks like a thingy out of Pacific Rim, and she's got this giant purple hammer, and she's just staring up at us like, I'm going to fuck you up, bitch. Like, and I was just like, wow. Yeah, okay.
See, that's the bit that I completely switched off at. Was up to that point, I was like, it's gonna be like a shitty kids film. And then when I saw her on the beach with a hammer with glowing bits coming out of it, I was like, it didn't rub me up the right way at all. It sounds like it's just a me problem though, just judging off what you guys say. Yeah, I didn't. I don't know. I didn't
watch it, so.
Yeah, well,
well, you watch it, Matt, and then on our next show we'll talk about it.
Okay, we'll talk about it on our next show.
Yes. But no, thank you very much for coming on our show. So on our show this week, it's been really, really, really good.
Oh, jeez.
No, it has, and like I said, you guys were an influence to me in making the show. And I followed your path, and now we've got our own show. So
Justin. Buddy, why are we here? I think these people are insane.
I think they thought we were someone else. I don't know.
I think maybe they think we're somebody else. Like, they're talking about a very different show.
Yeah, I mean, I think where our highlight of our show is me shitting my pants. I don't know exactly.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to you guys.
I mean, there was that one time we talked to Billy West. I guess that makes us kind of cool.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but I remember
you're too kind. You're very, very much too kind.
From the very beginning, I was like, I love your show, guys. Really good on Instant Messenger. And you're like, why? It's shit. And I was like, no, it's not shit. That's like a direct quote. You're like, why? Why do you like our show? And I was like, and you would be. And I said, look, you've. My idea of making a show is to connect with people, right? I wanted to make something that people could listen to and feel better, right? And you reached out to me from America to the UK, and to do that is quite an achievement, I think. So. Despite what your content is, or how good the quality is. If you can reach out to one person and make their lives better for a short period of time, what have you, then congratulations, because you've done what you were meant to.
Yeah, that's why, sometimes I see things once in a while where people pick on, oh, there's so many podcasts, and oh, everybody has a podcast. Why would you make a podcast? Because you're making something, and because you're having a good time, and because you might get to make someone's day better, and you might cool people. Like, I don't care. There's 6 billion people on the planet. I don't care if every single one of them makes a podcast, and there's 6 billion podcasts. Your podcast is going to find at least somebody, if not more than one somebody's, because it's ridiculous when everybody said, like, and now I'm going to start sounding a little bit Kevin Smithy, because that's where I got the idea to start my own podcast, was Kevin Smith saying everybody should have a podcast. And I just think it's true. Like, there's no reason not to. Like, everybody has a little bit of something to say about something, and everybody has somebody out there that they agree with. And especially if you live in a small community and maybe you don't agree with a lot of the people that live in your community, that's why you go to the internet, to find more people that you can talk about things you enjoy with. Like, that's
exactly
the whole point.
And we've picked up a couple of listeners, and we get 30 listeners a week, if that, and we've got 1 or 2 really good fans that chip in every week and give us bits to do. So that's all it's about. So yeah, thank you. How did you guys come about anyway? How did you guys create your show? Who spoke to who about making the show? Was it you, Matt?
It was Matt, because literally I'm sitting around. It was I remember the day, because we were both just talking, we were texting each other just randomly, and then Matt was just out of the blue was like, I have an idea, and I was like, and that's kind of how it went down. So the very beginning, I would go to his place, or he would come down to my place, and we would just record for an hour just talking about stuff, and we once a month first.
Because you originally had the shit internet. You were the first shit internet. We've traded spaces now. Now Justin has the better internet, and I have the shit internet. So we traded.
Internet's bitch, isn't it?
Yeah. And so that's kind of because originally his internet was so bad we couldn't even Skype podcast. Now my internet's pretty bad, but we can usually manage Skype podcasting. I mean, we did have an episode a couple weeks ago that got cut short because my internet just would not cooperate.
No, Godzilla came by.
Oh, that's right. Godzilla came down
and destroyed it. Because he didn't like we had to say about his Netflix film.
That's right. Oh, I didn't necessarily come up with I know you guys were looking for a dickhead of the week. I just want to say, since we're also going to put this on our stream, I don't necessarily know if anyone that listens to us is in this area, but I just want to say, if anybody that listens to us was personally affected by the shooting at Parkland High School, we're thinking of you. If you had friends, family, anything that, some fucker going into a school and shooting kids is really bad. And we hope nobody that nobody that listens to us was personally affected by it. We wish nobody was affected by it. Our dickhead of the week is a dickhead that would shoot kids.
Yeah. Yes. Very poignant, and it was pretty fucking awful, wasn't it? What a world we live in. Jimmy, did you have
because we have all, I don't necessarily know where all our listeners come from, and so I don't necessarily know if anyone that listens to us had to endure that. I mean, as a country, we had to endure that, but I don't know if anybody that listens to us had to personally endure that. So,
can you imagine it though? Just sat in a school, your boring ass day in school, and all of a sudden that happens.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to turn it into that, but I did want to just say it, just in case anybody that did.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Jimmy, did you have a dickhead of the week?
No, that was going to be my same comment, to be honest. Was that whole situation, which
Justin, did you have one?
Pretty much wrapped up with what we've already said.
That's kind of the main one for that is the Parkland thing. Yeah, I didn't really have anyone else.
Well, I had to. The person I wanted to talk about is Oxfam. I don't know if you guys have been. Do you get Oxfam in America? Do you get Oxfam?
No, doesn't ring a bell.
No, like it's a charity shop. You go in and you buy something, and the money goes to Africa or countries in need. It's a huge charity over here, and basically they get a lot of funding from the UK. I think it's something like 125 million a year they get off the government in handouts and things. And it turns out that when they went to Haiti, when they had that earthquake in 2010. Yeah, they were using hookers, and not
Jesus,
and not necessarily like legal hookers either. So the government has actually been paying Oxfam to go and get their end away in all the countries that they work in, and so they've had a huge telling off. They've been destroyed over the tabloids and what have you in the UK. So yeah, if you're gonna create a charity to help people, fucking help people, and don't think about your own selfish needs.
They were stimulating the local economy at the personal ground level. That's what they were doing, directly into people's pockets. I think that they should be absolutely applauded for putting money into the economy. Great stuff.
I wouldn't say so.
I didn't even realize that happened. What the fuck?
Yeah,
how did they even get away with that? Well, obviously they haven't. But...
Well, this happened in 2010 though, so it's taken them a while to get found out. But,
yeah,
you know, and they were like, whoever was involved was swiftly fired. But you know, who the fuck runs these kind of places? Like, you know, they make so much money. They make so much money.
Can you imagine being the team leader who went over there on your charity case as a volunteer, just like, there's a couple of grand gone missing from the kitty that we were supposed to be getting resources with. Like, does anyone know what's gone on? As fucking Alan comes out of the bathroom doing his flies, which is like, don't know what you're on about, mate. What a couple of grand? No idea. Maybe dog came in. Maybe Godzilla came by and destroyed the dog.
Godzilla stole it.
Yeah.
Oh god. So yeah, that was my dickhead of the week. Have you got anything to add, Jimmy, before we get into superhero bar fight?
No, just thanks for coming on. Been absolute pleasure. So you're more than welcome back at any time. But no, let's wrap it up. Let's do some superhero bar fight.
Yeah. Well, thanks for listening to Thors-Kin, and let you guys say your bit as well at the end there.
All right. Yeah, that was Two Broke Geeks for this week.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah. Later.
Alex loves doing this. He loves setting people up for an intro or an outro. It's just like, and you guys take it away. It's just like, really.
Yeah, right.
I didn't want to be like, ladies, bitches, zip, gone. Like,
yeah. Bye.
Anyway,
that kind of deal. That's all we ever do. So
yeah.
Fuck you for coming on that show. Bye.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's been great. Thank you. I've fucking done it again, haven't I?
You have done it again. Weren't they nice? No, that was awesome for them coming on. So
great guys, yeah. great guys.
Yeah, enjoyed that. We've got a few things that we didn't get sort of round to being able to throw in there. So we knew we were going to have a few subjects at the end that we were going to do our sort of own bit on anyway. So we kind of wanted to make sure that was all Black Panther orientated and throw a few sort of get the rest of the week's movie bits thrown in there because that's what they went with. But we've got a few other bits of subjects as well just to wrap up at the end. So the main thing that I wanted to talk to you about was a subject that I know both of us are quite hold close to our hearts, and that is Star Wars. Basically, Disney are not happy at all with EA at the moment with their treatment of the Star Wars franchises. Obviously, they've got through Battlefront, but they've also got sort of separate story-led and story-driven titles that were in the works. Apparently, all of that's getting stripped.
And so it should. So it should. Like, I don't trust EA as far they're fucking the gaming Nazis. They are, and they got given a huge responsibility with Star Wars, I think, and they failed. I think they very much. I mean, the game would have been great. I don't want to piss people off that really do actually enjoy the game, because if you enjoy it, then you enjoy it. I'm not attacking you at all. But I'm saying to the people that can't afford to keep up with people, I mean, I've noticed it even on Call of Duty, who promised to be a bit more fair. They've kind of, I noticed last night that the when you can buy like the bits you need to get the extra rifles and things, you kind of work, you gain coins or armor chips, whatever they call them, and you use that to buy the products. But now they put the prices up in the armory so high that by the time you've saved up your 4,000 chips to get one card, which is of 8 things you need to get the weapon, it's gone. It's a limited time thing, so you kind of have to buy them, and you know, it's kind of not fair, because I don't want to spend more than, you know, whatever you spend on a game.
Yeah, Gears of War did that really badly as well. When Gears of War 4 came out, I was really hoping to get into that and spend some good time in it, but they put like 5 little stupid things, and they're all the same as Call of Duty. You know how you get the pistol grip and you can't even fucking see it once you've got it equipped because your hand is covering it. Gears of War did something very similar, where they've got like 60% of it is like weapon skins, and then there's only 40% of it that's actual cool stuff to look at. But they're really, really expensive. So it depends how you do all your microtransactions. Now, I've said this before, like, I really don't give a shit about microtransactions in general, because you don't know if someone's bought it or paid or earned it by gameplay anyway. So how you decide to do something in a game doesn't affect me at all. And like, if I go on holiday or decide to play something else for a week, you've earned some extra shit, and you're gonna have a better weapon by the time that we go against each other again. So like, there's no actual impact on this kind of stuff. But like you said, I get why people might not like it. So the main reason I wanted to bring this up wasn't to go like to slate EA and talk about all this like negative stuff. I actually wanted to turn it into a positive. Basically, they've approached both Ubisoft and Activision so far. Now, what are your thoughts on either of those two taking it?
Ubisoft would be great. Activision would be great. They're companies that I've used all my life, you know.
Do you not think Activision will do exactly that? Like, they're like EA but worse with.
Who's it that make Assassin's Creed? It was Ubisoft, isn't it? Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, I mean, with Activision, like, at least with EA, we got free map packs. Like, that won't happen with Activision.
I think it should. I think you should give people free map packs, but sell the extra shit, if I'm honest, because like you said before, it splits your audience in half. I mean, like, I play card. I mean, I'm playing with you last night, but I mainly play with my wife, my buddy, and another friend of ours. So there's 4 of us that go online. They've both got the DLC. I mean, like, when they start releasing maps just for the DLC, they're going to peel off and play their game while I'll be stuck playing my own game.
Exactly.
You know? So I think they should be giving people maps. And also, you know, you are paying £50 to £60 on a game. You know, people haven't got the money anymore, like, you know, and they don't want to keep paying out, and I don't know. EA for me, I noticed the signs for this a long time ago, especially with FIFA, and I've mentioned it on the show as well, that EA are slowly getting to the point where they're just going to start asking for ridiculousness off people, and they did. And some people bought it, some people enjoyed it, whereas a lot of people didn't. So
it's a shame, because they got so much goodwill back at the start of this generation as well, like with EA Access and stuff like that, and their want to give free map packs and things like that. But that all comes at a price, and if you want to do free map packs, like, the investors have to have something in their contract to say, if you've got a shit launch, like Titanfall 2 had a shit launch, there's got to be something in there that's like, well, where's the money coming from? You've got to have something like post-launch profit actually coming in, and that's why you either get map packs or you get microtransactions.
But it never used to be like that. They used to release games, and that was it. Like, they'd release a game, they'd collect the money off that game, and then they'd move on to the next. And that was all. That was successful then.
They cost hundreds of millions to make now, where they didn't used to. It's like, if we were still at a level where like Yooka-Laylee was the most advanced a game can be, and like that's the big thing, like Banjo-Kazooie was when it came on N64, then fair enough. But we want Call of Duties, and we want Halos, and we want Gears of Wars and shit like that. So, and that again, it all comes at a cost of, if that's what you want, then the industry's got to sort of like go in a certain way. Anyway, we're getting way too down the track of like microtransactions in the industry and shit. What if Ubisoft took over Star Wars?
Ubisoft would be great. I've got a lot of faith in them, because with the they're Assassin's Creed, right?
Yeah.
I've never had any problems with Ubisoft. They released a game that was online, that got slated a lot, and then so they took it offline. They listened to the fans, like they're very reactive. Ubisoft would make a great Star Wars game, I think. And if it's anything like Assassin's, could you imagine like an Assassin's Creed style Star Wars game? Come on, man, that'd be fucking amazing. Jumping off rooftops with lightsabers and running around Tatooine and like.
So here's my question. This is what this has all been building up to. You've got a Star Wars. You are the guy at Disney that makes the decision, and you can actually do a little bit more than that. You can tell people the style of game. What studio do you go to, and what style of game would you like to see?
Well, I've just said it.
Literally that. Ubisoft with a third person.
Yeah, jumping around, doing flips with a lightsaber, jumping onto a fucking speeder and jetting off to a different place, getting on ships and going to different planets. A bit of Mass Effect and a bit of Assassin's Creed.
Okay,
I think that's a fair.
I'd love for them to approach Warner Brothers, the same studio that did the Arkham series, and I'd love for them to go, here's Boba Fett, make a Boba Fett bounty hunting game. A la Batman.
Or you could do a Jar Jar Binks lick the spoon game.
Next subject.
Fucking
lick this. Jesus Christ. No, I think that'd be awesome. Like going around like a massive city, or even different cities that are all linked together, and you've got to like hunt people down throughout the city, and like you going off the rooftops and trying to like put together investigations and stuff like that in the same way as like Arkham Knight did it. That would be awesome. And you know that the combat in that as well would be absolutely spot on if Warner Brothers did it.
Yeah, I suppose with Assassin's Creed with lightsabers it'd be XXA, XXA, XXA. It'd be quite repetitive.
Yeah, exactly. You'd need a little bit more depth in it. I know that Warner Brothers could do a world justice because they do Gotham justice.
Oh, but actually thinking about, do you imagine walking through a busy marketplace with like hundreds of beings from all around the world, like Assassin's Creed, and you blend into people and stuff, but like they're all different creatures from all around the world, or they could recreate the tavern. They could do all sorts with that. That'd be so good. That
would be a good one if a Han Solo game for that.
Smuggling,
yeah, smuggling game. Anyway, moving swiftly on, we've got a little bit of news broke apparently with it's only like a minor point. We don't need to dwell on it too much. Sea of Thieves is doing really, really, really well. It had a stress test sort of beta. That's all I've been doing. All I've been doing. It's so good. It's like they've still got no story in it because it's all in beta, and I don't think there's probably going to be one actually when it launches. I think like the mechanic of your crew is the game. But apparently after this, the latest beta, there was a less than 1% cancellation rate of the current pre-orders, which usually you see like loads of people pre-order it and then afterwards loads of people cancel their pre-order. This is like a huge retention rate. So it kind of goes for the reason why I'm bringing it up is what it indicates of like, I think people are really enjoying this game once they've got on it. So I think we might have very potentially a new big franchise about to hit. I really do. Something maybe it doesn't have the epicness of like a Halo, but I certainly think it's going to have the player base retention, and that you sink your life into it as a Destiny.
Do you think? I think this is a great segue as well. So, do you think the world's gonna want to play Spyro with boats? Because that's what it looks like to me. Spyro with boats. It's the same graphics. It's the same graphics.
Okay, so
it's the same graphics. God damn you! I keep telling you this.
With shit like that, right? When I first tried VR, the first thing that you think is, "Wow, these graphics are shit," and then within 5 seconds, you're like, "You do not give a shit." And I can tell you now, the graphics are not shit. They're just stylized. When you're actually in it, like the stylization of it does not matter at all. Like you get into the game for the mechanics itself. I need to get you on it. I need to get you hooked up on Insider.
When I have
program and everything.
50 quid lying around, I'll jump on it.
See, that's the thing. You don't need to spend 50 quid on it. 1 month Game Pass, and you can try it for a month.
Yeah, I know. Those kind of things never last long with me. Look what happened with Cineworld.
Yeah, but in terms of like trying out, it's not going to cost you 50 quid. It's going to cost you 8 quid. And you'll get to...
I do want it, and hopefully, I think soon, we are going to be in a situation where we can do it, so, yeah. Because my wife got a new job, yeah.
Spyro remake. It's got you excited.
Do we want another... No, I fucking hated Spyro. I hated Spyro so far. I played it because it's the only game that was in the fucking house at the time. Running around, blowing up fucking sheep and gliding and... It's a purple fucking dragon. It's shit. I didn't like it. I'm not sounding very optimistic about it, but there was better games out at the time, you know? I didn't understand the hype.
I think Crash Bandicoot, because it's the same studio doing that, I think Crash Bandicoot kind of made a bit more sense. There was more to that game. But I think what this is because I think both of these are Activision. I think Sony at the moment has got a little bit of an internal program. And these are all going to be third party. They're all coming to all the consoles, I think, on a 1 year timed exclusive. I think they've got a little bit of a campaign running internally of getting all those things that you associate with PlayStation 1 and like hitting that nostalgia train hard. What games would you want, like those old games? And I'll tell you mine to kind of like set up the reason why I'm asking. Is if I was sat in like Microsoft or Nintendo or something, thinking, oh, how do we like counter this? How do we bring back those old games? I'd love to go for someone to pick up that old Sega Mega Drive cartridge that had 3 games in one, where it had Shinobi, Golden Axe, and Streets of Rage, and to do like a HD complete remake of those. I'd fucking love that. I think they should do shit like that rather than Spyro.
Oh, they did, didn't they? They did the old Mega Drive thing, but I always wanted them to remake Prince of Persia, and they did that, and I was quite disappointed with them. So I'm not optimistic with remakes. However, there are a couple of things I think would be great. Streets of Rage needs updating instantly. I know they're classics, but they're not going to move. They're going to still be classics. Remake Streets of Rage, remake Dead Ball Zone, and remake Mech Warrior. Three games of
Mech Warrior. Imagine Mech Warrior with the technology they're using with Crackdown 3, where you've got 100% destructibility, where skyscrapers fall and actually crumble into their individual bricks that was made to build them. Going around as mechs, that would be absolutely insane.
Make it. I know we had thingy Call of Duty. What's it called? Big robots running along walls. What was it called?
Titanfall.
I know we had Titanfall. It's very similar, but like I don't think we had enough Titanfall. I think we shouldn't just leave Titanfall. We should move forward with it. And Mech Warrior is a great way to do it. I think. I like Titanfall because it felt like Mech Warrior, a big fucking robot, and the sounds and things like that. You know.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we've sort of wrapped up all the random little bits of gaming news. Do you want to do your awesome little random questions that I have no idea what they're going to be?
Yeah,
and dread for the full week leading up to it.
Do you get the same inbox I do for the Thors-Kin thing?
Maybe not. I think I get most of it.
Graham is our Graham. I'm going to call him our Graham from now on because he gets a lot of mentions on the show. Our Graham's the only person that's kind of messaged in this week. Nobody loves us. Love us more, please. There's a few here. I'm going to ask you two. Okay.
Far away.
Just random one. If you accidentally ate your own tongue, what would it taste like?
Probably currently Black Panther's asshole.
Yeah, good answer. I like that. This one, it makes me laugh, and it really shouldn't. But can blind people see their dreams?
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Like, I'm keeping my mouth. You got to answer this one, baby.
I would rather tackle a gun control issue right now. Like, what the fuck? Can blind people see their own dream? I reckon they can, and but I reckon that. Do you think blind people are blind in their dream? How would no? If you were born blind, right? And this is like the real highbrow shit going down right now. If you were born blind and you don't know how to visualize anything, you couldn't see anything because you wouldn't like if you turned blind, someone shoved threw acid in your face. Of course you can, but
you remember all that shit. Green trees.
You remember what it looks like, and your brain sort of like opened up all the relevant synapses for that to work in REM sleep. If you were born blind, you wouldn't have the relevant bits going on in your brain to do so. I don't think they can.
We should get a blind person on the show. Be like, so what are your dreams like? Talk to us about your dreams. Yeah, that's a hard one. That's a really good question, actually. I like that one. But it's unanswerable because we don't know anybody that's been blind all their life. So that's the answer to that one.
Wow. I can't believe you actually chose that one to ask me.
I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was really good. So yeah, well done, Graham. Keep up your hard work. And if anybody else would like to chip in, like just give us a shout. We love you, and we'll give you some love online. We'll,
But I think
no.
I reckon if you got anything on your side that you wanted to talk about, or should we wrap up and move on to Superhero Bar Fight quickly? I
kind of really like. I did pick some things to talk about, but the things that you don't really like. There's a Rick. Oh yeah, actually, this is great. Rick and Morty are doing a VR experience for PlayStation.
Yeah.
And I was like, now I need to buy a fucking PlayStation and I need to buy VR. Like, why are they doing this, man? They're torturing me. Well, they're putting all this shit on PlayStation. If Rick and Morty is just going to be a PlayStation exclusive, that's me fucked, man. So,
I've got one you can buy off me. I've played fucking one game on it. Thought that would have been a good idea. I enjoy it, don't get me wrong, but I'm just like, that fucking thing's collecting dust.
I remember when I give you shit for buying that, you're like, my mind is open. I can now do what I like. Now he's like, I've been playing Forza for like days and days and
I've
days.
played Forza, honest to God. I picked up Forza Horizon. No, I didn't pick it up. I picked up the controller to play Forza Horizon 2 a couple of weeks before Christmas. I got a couple of shit. I got Killzone Shadowfall and I got The Order 1886 for Christmas. Played half an hour of each of them. I was like, I need a proper fucking game. So picked up Forza Horizon 3 because I was already addicted to racing at this point. And I've been playing that since, with a spot of Lego thrown in. That's all I've been doing. My problem with that is that I picked up my PlayStation to get Horizon Zero Dawn. And I played the shit out of that game. Amazing game. Really is. Then it's God of War. And then it's Spider-Man. And I've not really got any interest in anything else. So I'm just like, this is a 3-game console for me. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. You might end up with one for Christmas.
And then I'll be like, James, get a PlayStation. Come play with me. Yes, about the Saturday Hours, which is the other show I do a segment for. I just wanted to congratulate them. They've just actually moved from being a podcast to a radio show. They've got a spot on Elastic FM, and they've got like a 3-hour spot there. So I'll still be doing the segment, but it's going to be on radio rather than on a podcast. And they want to get some love out there, so they're going to come on our show, I think, possibly next week, and we're going to try and get them a few more listens. So the Saturday Hour, they're going to be here next week. I don't know how many of them's going to come. There's like 5 of us, so that'd be a bit awkward. So maybe a couple of them come round on the show.
Cool.
So look out for that.
Good stuff.
Saturday Hours.
Yeah, so let's wrap it up there then. Let's move on to Superhero Bar Fight. Obviously, like we do each week now, that's sort of separate, so we're going to wrap up here. But stay tuned, because that's coming up next. So see you next week, guys. Thanks for dropping by.
Peace out, bitches!
Welcome to Superhero Bar Fight. This week, obviously, you know what we're going to do. Everything that's been going on with Black Panther, we knew that we needed to put him against someone. So we've got Black Panther going up against, we've decided, Blade. We thought that would be an interesting little matchup. So getting straight into it, do you want to take Black Panther away?
Hi guys, yeah, I'll take Black Panther. So Black Panther has got enhanced strength. You've seen him drinking that purple goo. Speed and agility. He can heal. He's got the vibranium claws and the Connect vibranium suit.
Did you say Connect, like the Microsoft?
Kinetic.
The little camera. He's there in front of his TV doing his Connect Sports. It's just like Wii bowling.
Wow. Very similar, if you've seen the film. Now there is a bit about that, but no, yeah, kinetic vibranium suit. Sorry about that. And he's well trained as well. It's not on the list here, but he's well trained in martial arts.
He's very well trained. Moving over to Blade, master martial artist in pretty much. The list is almost, believe it or not, as extensive as like if you were looking at Batman's list of things he's black belt in. It surprised me looking into his background of how many separate sort of forms he is really sort of like a master of. He's got healing factor very much like Black Panther, and he's an edged weapon specialist. So anything from his throwing knives to his katana, his double-edged sword that he's got, that we've seen him sort of rocking as Wesley. I didn't realize this. Apparently in the comic books, he's got a machine gun arm. So
okay.
There's that. I thought, I'm throwing that one in, definitely. And again, in sort of one of the lines, one of the story arcs, he gets like he doesn't get full-blown vampire abilities, but he sort of says he's gonna like turn into a bat and all of this kind of stuff. Like really, like stereotypical vampire abilities that you associate with them. He mentions that he's got them, even though we don't see. So yeah, it's I am Blade, I suck your blood. So
yeah. Okay, so they're in a bar.
In a really, really dingy techno trance, like underground club. It's like
yeah, pre-millennium bar.
Yeah, and there's people like dancing in the cages at the top, and like there's the if you look up, there's the window with the club owner looking down with a glass of just 2 shots of Jack Daniels in there and 1 cube of ice, because that's all you need.
And all the girls are wearing black PVC and those choker fucking necklaces they used to wear in the late 90s.
Yeah,
that's a rave scene. And then, I'm gonna say,
and I reckon one of those girls is actually Black Panther dressed up in a suit, and it's not a choke around his neck. It's his suit. And he does this little Power Ranger moments of it's morphin time, and then the suit comes on all around him. It's like, you killed my father, I will kill you. And then he Everyone
Let's
runs out
not
the
do
door.
the accent. I think Blade is gonna be like, he's gonna put his arm on Blade's shoulders. He's like, "Hey, vampire scum, dressing in leather," and of course it's not leather; it's the black suit. And he's gonna turn around and be like, "I am not a vampire. I am the king of Wakanda." And he's gonna be like, "I've never heard of Wakanda," and they're gonna start fighting up on the dance floor because Blade loves cutting a motherfucker down on the dance floor. And that's where it's gonna go. And that sword of Blades isn't gonna penetrate the suit, is it? Especially with the kinetic vibranium bounce back mode that he's got.
Activate bounce back mode. For some reason, I've just got this whole thing playing out in my head in the same tone as the old Power Rangers series back when, like, it was Fit Kimberly, just like dodgy Rita. I don't know why.
I've got the dance off with Stifler in American Pie for some reason. Dance off, bro! And he's got the cat claws. Meow. Blaze with his sword, like, so they're having a dance off on the light up dance floor. Yes, I love it.
And I reckon because Black Panther's going to be rolling about doing all flips everywhere, Blade's just going to get a bit pissed off because, like, he's Wesley Snipes, so he's getting a bit old now, so he can't quite do the same dances. So he's going to fuck this, and then he's going to start attacking him and realise, oh shit, my sword and my spikes aren't actually going into this guy's suit. And Black Panther's just going to be laughing, just thinking, you're a fucking idiot, and then activate rebound mode, boom, purple goo everywhere, and Blade is on the other side of the room, sort of like there's a Looney Tunes shaped hole in the wall of just like that.
I think martial arts, they're both matched. Like you said, they're going to be bouncing off each other. They're going to be a lot of hits. There's going to be punches, but those claws are going to be all up in Blade. They're going to be causing lots of damage, which I don't know how quickly he heals. I can't remember. I haven't seen Blade for years.
Not quite as quickly as you'd expect, like a Deadpool or a Wolverine. Well, Wolverine's like the top example, really, isn't he? But yeah, not quite as quick as that. But saying that, Black Panther's the same. Just like he heals quickly, but not quite Wolverine quick. I think that Blade's blade is going to end up in lots of different pieces. Those vibranium claws are just going to go straight through it. And I think he's gonna Blade's cloak on his back, or his trench coat rather. I reckon that is going to be in pieces. I think Black Panther's going to shred a little heart shape into that, or something like a really feminine shape with his claws, and Blade's going to be really pissed off and emasculated.
I think Black Panther's going to cut off that body armor because he always has that metal plate body armor, doesn't he? He's in some sort of really camp dance move. One strap, two strap with his claws, going to fall to the floor. And as he spins around Blade, he reaches through the back and his hand comes out of Blade's chest. And this black suit's going to be holding Blade's heart through his chest, right through his body.
As an overlay comes on the screen and says, "Fatality."
Yeah, it's not a fair fight. It would be spectacular. The martial arts, it would be great. The Blade isn't going to stand up to much. We're going to get some crazy dance moves.
Yeah,
a quick snip with the armor and a heart through the chest. I think.
I reckon so. I don't think Blade would even have time to shoot the machine gun arm at him. To be honest, it would bounce off that armor.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I just don't think. Do you know what? I don't think there's a lot of people that could really take on Black Panther unless they're past that sort of like they're crazy powerful and could like throw you across a planet level strength. I think
a certain tactician could do it. If you're really clever, you could. I mean,
a certain tactician who
Batman.
I was going to say in a similar shaped cowl. By any chance is that? Well,
I think Batman would have a vibranium arrow or bullet or something somewhere. He's rich as fuck, like.
Yeah, but he doesn't even live in the same world as vibranium. And this is Blade versus Black Panther, not Batman. So fuck off, back to your DC hole.
Yeah, so I've got Black Panther for the win. It would be it'll be very Saturday Night Fever on a flashing dance floor. Some crazy moves. The snip with the arm, chest, heart.
I love how the scene went from like goth underground trance hole into like flashing greens and purples and blues Saturday Night Fever, John Travolta, sort of grease lightning.
I couldn't get that dance scene out of American Pie out of my head. I don't know what it was. But yeah, that's what I see.
I reckon that's pretty accurate. Black Panther
You
takes
like
a
it,
win.
yeah?
I reckon, yeah, in a very, very camp way, Black Panther takes a win. See you next week, guys.
Peace out. Bye.